This is the second episode of Season 3 of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's fan-made. Do enjoy! As always, Sion and Diablo were arguing about who's the better secretary of Rimuru. To agitate Diablo, Sion said, "In the times when you were gone, I have proved that great Rimuru doesn't need a second secretary." Annoyed, Rimuru said, "Come on, there's no need to fight." Then he asked Diablo why he was there, if he was having difficulties overthrowing Farmus. Diablo replied, "No, not at all. Everything is moving smoothly as planned. I'll brief you if you want." Rimuru had a gut feeling that he must have overdone it. Diablo told Rimuru that Raisin had taken over the body of Shogo, and he is now my puppet. Rimuru was surprised because Raisin is considered a legendary magic caster of Farmus who had lived for centuries to defend the kingdom. Now, he is a mere puppet of Diablo. How awesome can Diablo be? Diablo explained that as the head of the royal court mages, nobles would believe him more easily than anyone else. In another scene inside Farmus Castle, in the king's chamber, everyone was in a state of panic. The army of 20,000 was gone. The king was in a disfigured shape with extra limbs and eyes popped out, but not a scratch on his skin, as if he was born that way. Shogo was unconscious, and no one could answer what happened to the royal army of 20,000. The royal priest was called upon to heal his majesty, but to no avail. Nothing worked, and people were doubting if the king was even alive. The royal priest confirmed he was alive, but he didn't know how he or anyone could restore him back to normal. In the chaos of unanswered questions, Shogo regained consciousness. He was hurriedly called into the king's chamber, and a barrage of questions was fired at him. What happened to the army? How many survivors? Why is the king in this state? Shogo first said, "I am Raisin in Shogo's body, and Veldora, the storm dragon, has been revived," and the whole army vanished. During the war with the monster army, a lot of blood was spilled. Awakening Veldora, the army vanished. They didn't feel pain or fear, they just vanished. Some nobles challenged his reply, but the majority accepted it, considering Raisin's legendary service to the kingdom. Raisin was thinking, this made-up story is way better than the bitter truth of how a mere slime massacred the whole army with no mercy. Next, Raisin was asked how, if the whole army vanished, how he was alive. He replied, "Rayheim and I were helped by the new demon lord Rimuru with the help of champion Yum." Rayheim called Yum and his party into chambers. Nobles, seeing a commoner in the king's chamber, openly showed their disgust with comments like, "He smells like a sewer rat," but were quickly stopped by Rayheim. He announced that Yum would act as a bridge between us and demon lord Rimuru. Seizing this opportunity, Yum said, "Sorry for coming late. I have persuaded that demon lord and have also brought a full health potion that will restore majesty." Most people knew Yum was the one who slayed the orc lord and became champion Yum, but they were not allowing him to speak as he was a commoner. Even Raisin failed to persuade them to let him speak. Then Diablo stepped in, and his aura froze all the nobles in their place. Yum then said, "Farmus is the neighboring kingdom of the great forest of Jura, and we have awakened Veldora. It's unlikely we can get away with it. And Demon Lord Rimuru is the only one who can negotiate with Veldora, so we should listen to what peace offer Demon Lord Rimuru has for us. Rimuru wants to coexist with Farmus, but we have killed his comrades, yet he wants to offer peace. If we don't, maybe this kingdom won't exist." Few nobles were still not agreeing to it and were openly insulting Rimuru. Raisin knew Diablo would not tolerate it and would kill all persons present there. To stop this from happening, Raisin invoked his spell and froze a noble to not further agitate Diablo. He then shouted, "This is not the time to bring your noble status here. The king needs to be saved. Our nation is lost. We don't have any choice. The only choice is to listen to what peace offer Demon Lord has for us." Finally, all nobles agreed to it. Then Diablo appeared right before the king. Elite guards of the king couldn't even notice him and were shocked. Diablo introduced himself to all present there. "I am Diablo, a loyal servant of great Rimuru, and I will heal the king with this health potion." Diablo knew Rimuru was advertising his health potion. So to take advantage of the situation, Diablo 2 advertised it and poured the health potion on the king, who was back in his original condition. In reality, it was his magic that restored the king, but just to advertise the health potion, Diablo did that. Now everyone in the chamber was silent as the ambassador of Rimuru, Diablo, started speaking the message of his lord Rimuru to all. Pharmus was given 3 choices. 1. The king abdicates the throne and pays war reparations. 2. Submit to Tempest and become a vassal state. 3. Continue the war. The time to give an answer was 1 week. All choices were thorny, and 1 week was too little time to gather all the nobles to decide. One noble complained to Diablo, only to get a strong death stare. Diablo once again reminded the king that they can't play any tricks in this. Failing to answer within 1 week will be taken as wanting to continue the war. With that said, Diablo took his farewell. This is how I threw them into disarray, concluded Diablo. Upon asking if Diablo also showed the grotesque king, to which Diablo said, of course, it was necessary to instill fear among them. Cheyenne was proud of Diablo. Rimuru resigned, thinking, my good image is now ruined. Next, Diablo said, I also demanded 10,000 stellar coins. Rimuru spat his tea listening to this. Even Veldora was surprised, as 10,000 stellar coins is too much. Paying that much will make any country go bankrupt, but Diablo reassured that they would pay, as they do not have soldiers to continue the war. Nobles will not accept becoming vassals, so the only solution is opening the national treasury. Some nobles will try to put all blame on the king and not give up their money. This will result in noble faction versus royal faction. With all soldiers dead, the royal faction can't pressure the noble faction. This is where Yim will come in, and then we will show him as the country's savior and project him as king. And when the time comes, Raisin will contact us, and we will lend military help to Yim. Rimuru was really amazed by the intelligence of Diablo. He was thinking Diablo would use force to make him king, but this whole planning shows that Diablo really understands my view. A hobgoblin served desserts to all and said she is still trying to reach Shuna's level. Thinking about Shuna, she is still in Clayman's castle surveying his castle along with Hakuro, according to what Sui reported. Everyone received their desserts, except Diablo, who had none, and Veldora, who had 2. When questioned, Diablo explained that it was compensation for sharing information about what transpired in Valpurgis with Sir Veldora. Even as we approached, Sir Veldora had already briefed us on the matter. With this revelation, all the mysteries surrounding Rimuru's thought process about Diablo's presence and foreknowledge of our arrival became clear. To which Rimuru did what he does, snatched the dessert of Veldora and banned his snacks for some time. It took me a great effort to convert this picture to this and this to this and so on, so a subscribe will be appreciated. Today's model. If you want the unofficial release of your favorite anime, comment its name below, like, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.